LinkedIn Live. I am so honored to have my special guest, Jenny Maxwell. I've gotten to know Jenny uh, on a modest basis. She's a rising superstar, and you should check out her profile and look at her activity and what she does and the responses she gets, but more importantly, how she thinks and how she can really help you get to the next level and above. So, anyways, with that said, hi, Jenny. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to be here with you today, Don. You're already making me chuckle and laugh and smile.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Ireland and I moved with my family 11 years ago, and we live in Chicago now. And a couple of years ago, I was introduced to community service in my area because I was feeling as though I had lost my sense of purpose beyond being, a wife and a mom. Who was Jenny and what was going to fill my cup and light me up going forward? Because my kids are getting older and they don't need me anymore as much as they used to. They don't need me as much, I should say. So I was introduced to community service, and what I discovered about myself is that I really love serving others. And above that, I love getting the best out of people. I love to inspire and, you know, listen and figure out what's really going on behind this person's life, what's keeping them stuck, what's getting in their way. And the old version of me was the people pleaser and a fixer. And the new version of me has discovered that nobody's broken, nobody needs fixing. It's so much more joyful and wonderful to empower other people. And that is really what coaching is all about. So that's how I help people, Don, either in the non-for-profit world or in my for-profit business. I want to get the best out of people and help them get out of their own way so they can get everything that they want.
Well, that is so profound in such a quality way. And, I believe the essence and foundation of LinkedIn is providing value first in sharing and caring about the other person, because I know Jenny and myself are really focused on building long-term trusted relationships, putting the time and effort to get to know people and be upfront and be authentic and have people get to know us. And that's the purpose for LinkedIn Live. Is there's no substitute for real time with real people doing real interactions, and hopefully coming away with a knowledge share that everybody ups their game right after they leave. And sometimes it's just a nuance or a facet someone brings to the table, and it connects the puzzle for people, or maybe it allows them to take one more day and catch their breath before they give up or give up on themselves. By the way, chat's open. If anybody wants to chat with us, be happy to recognize them. So feel free. And, me and Jenny were just talking earlier because, we're not just trying to do this. We're really trying to figure it out for ourselves, is what makes people successful on LinkedIn, what makes people kind of like plateau. And there are so many people like that. And most of it, I think Jenny alluded to it, is a psychology, right? Getting to know
Yeah.
what people's thinking is. And more importantly, how do they feel about things? Knowing and not knowing how people feel is just too superficial. And the whole idea to our conversation today is managing time and people and managing time with people, so that one day they can do a better job of managing their time for success. So I see what we're doing as being a bridge builder, being like a guide who's been up and down the hill a few times and can take you up there, and not only that, but have some fun doing it. So the two
Yeah.
questions, right, Jenny, is, well, speak to that, because I know Jenny just, really, there's a saying, some elevators take you up and other buttons take you down. Well, Jenny's definitely an up button on an elevator. So share your experience.
Well, I would love to circle back to something that you said a couple of moments ago about authenticity. And I am a believer that people are potentially holding themselves back by not showing up as their authentic selves. So they're operating on this limiting belief that they are not enough. It's not enough to be just them. And they might upset somebody online if they show up as themselves. And what if the opposite of that is actually true? It's exhausting to show up any
Mhm.
differently. You're playing a character then. You're trying
Mhm.
to appeal to the masses, and you don't really know who your ideal person is when you're showing up that way. And then you've got to remember how to be. But when you step into yourself and you have a belief that you are worthy and you belong and all that juicy stuff, you're actually clearing the clutter. If people don't resonate with you, they'll step away and they'll follow somebody else. But the people that you share your message with, that really resonate with what you're saying, they're your people. So by
Mhm.
being yourself and sharing your story, you're inviting more people that you want to attract into your world, into your life, into your business, whether it's for friendship or otherwise, whether it's for friendship or to build your client base. Being your true authentic self is always enough, because you are enough. So I know I got a little off topic, but
No,
when I
no,
heard
no, no.
authenticity, I was like,
I'm actually
"Ooh."
now starting to move in that direction. In that, what I mentioned is happiness, quality of
Mhm,
life, right? When people measure success, it's usually in dollars
mhm,
or in toys, things of that nature, accumulating materialism. And I'm all for that being the result of your effort, not the reason for your effort. I
mhm.
always found money follows performance, and when it doesn't, performance speaks for itself, right? Who says
Yeah.
everybody has to get paid every time the way they want to? And you know what I found, and that's really something I talked about the other day, is taking responsibility and accountability. And that starts with what Jenny had just mentioned, is being your authentic self.
Mhm,
If you're not proud of who you are and don't want to share who you are, maybe it's a good time to change who you are to that person you always wanted to be. And I
mhm,
believe LinkedIn can be a new land. It's a new culture. It's a new language. Nobody knows you. The past never has to define your future, right? It could be the starting point for it. And no one should define who you are or what you are, right? And my definition of what quality on LinkedIn is something I enjoy seeing that I do and I do for others. And if anybody joins in it, great, because I do it every day. No one day means that much either way, but
mhm.
every day put together shows you're available. If you're looking to be an advocate for others, if you want to be a support individual for others, you've got to do more than they do. And you've got to be there when they're not, for the people who want you to be there, right? So being on call, but my point is your voice never ends. Why should your message? I walk around 7 days a week, and a LinkedIn Live typically, honestly, is about 7, 8 minutes when I do it by myself. When I do it with a co-host, it can go as long as the conversation continues to entertain, inspire, or educate. But more importantly, I think it's putting a smile on people's faces, putting an attitude that says, if it's up to me, what's that, Jenny, we talked about the other day?
Oh,
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
if it's
Uh,
got to be, it's up to me.
yeah. And,
Mhm.
that way you're not blaming people. You're not looking for reasons. You're just going forward, play through. That is really the name of the game, is take what was good about every day and add it to the good pile, and everything else walk by. Don't get distracted. Don't give people the reasons you're looking for not to do something.
Well,
So,
I'm so curious about that, simply because I think lots of people use it as a perfect distraction from doing the inner game work. You know, I'm not going to show up as myself because if people don't like me, based on something they were maybe taught or they learned, that learned behavior from a younger age, that they're trying to fit in and accommodate and people please. And so they don't actually know who they are anymore. right?
Well,
But we're all winning whatever game we're playing, so let's not make it the blame game. Well, I can't be this way because of that. Or if I do this and I get it wrong, that's their fault. Don't play that game. Do the work, look within, rediscover who you are, rediscover your purpose, find your group by being yourself. And then you never have to be any other way because you'll always be enough. And people, I think we're taught to measure things from a very young age as well, measure success, measure perfection, measure enoughness. And how can you possibly measure all that stuff? Your measure is within you. Did I do the best I could today? Then that's good enough for me, right? We have to let go of this idea that something has to be perfect. Done is better than perfect. Just get out there, be yourself, and don't be afraid of failure. Failure is just feedback. Fall forward, give it a try, see what happens. And as you quite rightly said, if it didn't work, leave it behind and carry on the next day.
Well, there's so much to what we're talking about, and really the key is people should be enough for themselves. And what Jenny's saying is the key word is, what are you measuring against? Against who? And who are they to be measured against either way? And who has time to worry about someone else when you need so much work yourself? So I think the key is to find what makes you happy. And I think another thing is, a lot of people, it's not directly all their fault. It's the people around them, dream stealers, people to keep telling them you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be doing this, and make them feel guilty. And what real steals the dream is when someone says, how much you make last week doing LinkedIn? I mean, you put in a lot of time. What did you make? When are you going to make? And people aren't doing it in a mean way. Some of them are curious, but most of them are confused. And what does that mean? You weren't clear enough with yourself to them to build the right expectation. If you would have told somebody it's going to take 2 years till I make any money, so don't ask me for 2 years, you never have to deal with it. But if you say, I'm on my way, I got a couple clients, I got this, I got that, you're just perpetuating this one day story instead of, hey, get happy today, get comfortable. And here's another thing people forget. I see it so many times in business. People open up their business the first day and they got balloons and cakes and cookies and friends, and it's just a wonderful place. And everybody's dreams are just so large, and their excitement and ambition and enthusiasm. Then all of a sudden, everybody goes home and these people go back to work, and they remember, hey, we got to work every day and do this and put everything at stake. And a year later, after doing a lot, they just can't deal with it anymore. And they forgot how they felt a year ago when they knew so little and hadn't had a year experience. And what happened is they stole their own dream. They bullied themselves into saying why, and putting pressure on themselves. Like Jenny says, there is no failure, only feedback. There is no outcomes, only continuums. Everything goes forward if you go forward with it. And no one has to be where they are. Every day you make a choice. Do I want to be happy or not? Sometimes you wake up and you think, oh, this world is a paradise. I love every second. The next day you wake up, it's just awful. And you say to yourself, how could the world change so quick? And it's never about that. So just like with LinkedIn, first of all, don't take yourself out of the game. If you can't say something good to yourself, distract yourself, go walk. Right? And once you start telling yourself all this negative stuff, and then you have to meet with people and project. And when you know that everybody is in the same boat as you are, in whatever way it is that boat's constructed, then there is no winners or losers, but there can be teammates and collaboration. Knowledge really banishes that ignorant I didn't want to put my toe in the water. Look at, she's out there swimming, and we're
Well,
sitting at the shore.
you've hit on something really special there. That word collaboration is like kryptonite to so many people because they have a scarcity mindset. They're coming onto LinkedIn thinking, I better not share what I know, and I don't want to work with someone in case they steal my ideas. They're approaching it from a place of what might I lose versus what might I gain. If we can light that creativity spark and you can, get out of your own way and let go of this tunnel vision that it has to be this one way. There are lots of ways you can work with people. By collaborating, guess what? You remove some pressure off of yourself. You might learn something. You'll definitely learn how other people are operating. That only adds value to you and your business. More. It doesn't have to be either or. What we're looking for is both and more. By working together, we rise together, we level up together. Collaboration is key. But when you're thinking about what might I lose if I join forces with someone else, you have a scarcity mindset, and reframing that to an abundant mindset is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself.
Well, and I
My two
think,
cents.
we got James Brower, who's mentioned, that's a great point. Individuals likely show who they are based on how they think others want to see them. That's being disingenuous to oneself. Thank you so much for that astute comment. Love chat. And I think people get it after a while, is if they're bringing super value, they're doing someone a disservice when they don't share it with them. And when someone doesn't receive it, it's a re-gift to the next person because you only have so much to give. And here's what I love about LinkedIn Live. It's the ultimate qualifier for people, to your point, who want to share, who are open to expression, because at the end of the day, nobody gets out of here alive anyways, right? There is no safety. So when you're able to play and you're good at playing, you should love the ability just to play. So think I got to play and win big. Well, no, that's like adding something to something that's not ready for it yet, and it's just giving you a reason why you want more to deal with. Instead of find people you enjoy being with, and those people will be enjoyable to the people like you. People like you enjoy the things you do and align with you, and you want to separate from the crowd. There's 810 million people. When you get to LinkedIn Live, maybe thousands, and then who does it every day? And then who does it every day with different people? And keep bringing people to the party, because collaboration starts two ways. People engage together, or someone keeps embracing somebody long enough that they finally engage. Right? So someone can start from the get-go, and other people need time, or other people want to see. But once you get understanding, once you say, hey, if the message is collaborate, well, then bring at least one other person together with you, and put out what you have on the table and say, here's what I got. And if they put what they got on the table and say, hey, how can we complement each other? How can we put some pieces together here, right? That makes us better for what we're already doing. And more importantly, you build complement and contrast with your audience, because people identify with you with certain things, with me with certain things. And then all of a sudden, hopefully you get people who are thinking. And someone says, I know I have. Well, now that I hear that, it's changed my thinking.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
And, two things I would love to share with you is they're almost like action steps for anybody who's listening out there, who's maybe getting in their own way and afraid that, something's got to be perfect or they're not enough or whatever else. What if by sharing your story and being your true, authentic self, you actually reach somebody out there who is feeling completely alone in this world with whatever is going on with them. And by hearing your story, they suddenly feel supported, even though you haven't done anything but just share your truth. they suddenly realize, oh, it's not just me, and I don't have to do this by myself. And they might reach out and be a connection and build a relationship with you. And whether they become your client or not, you've touched another person's life. You've made a difference in their day. And that's what it's all about in this world, whether it's LinkedIn or outside of LinkedIn, that's what it's all about. The second part of that action step is I invite my clients when they get into bed at night, it's at the end of the day, and this is to do with looking for the win of every day, right? Because we stack obstacles on top of one another, and then we stack all the things that we didn't get done, which is completely demotivating and demoralizing. And the opposite of that is just so much more empowering and powerful. So being a little gentle with ourselves when you get into bed at night and you close your eyes, I invite you to go back over your day from the very beginning and tick off all of the things that you did get done. And they can be anything. They can be, I drank enough water today. I went for a walk. I made my bed. I took a shower. I reached out to 4 new connections on LinkedIn. I made $1 million, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, stack all of those wins and you will knock yourself out. You'll have achieved so much. And by focusing on what you did get done, you are motivated to try again the next day. You're not focusing what I should have done and shaming yourself. I should have done this or I could have done that. You're focusing and looking at for the wins. And that's just so much more powerful. And I think it's the best thing.
I think that's perfect. And, I was honored to have gone to one of Agmandino's last speeches. And he was a great motivational speaker, 60s, 70s, kind of old time. And he had a, interesting life. And he turned it all around. And he said to everybody in the hall, how many people here are millionaires? And, a couple of hands went up, very few. And then he said, let me prove to you all, you're all millionaires. And he said, how much would you give for your eyes? Would you give $1 million for those, or your ears, or your legs, or anything like that? And that makes you rich. And then he says, if you're not convinced with that, pick up a newspaper, but don't look at the headline because that'll make you run into the closet. Is go to the obituary section and see who wouldn't trade places with you today. Right? And that's enough, and if you believe that, and I do, and you integrate that, then fear of some unknown person who you don't know, it's like, why go to there? Right? You put the right directions in your mind and you applaud yourself. Like Jenny says, every day I wake up and I talk about what I'm thankful for. And every night I go to sleep saying, what am I thankful for? And if you start your day with gratitude and you end your day with gratitude, then everything in the middle is projecting gratitude. Without concern with what you get, because I believe in 2 things in people: guilt and gratitude. And if you do enough for anybody, either one of those or both will make them want to keep you moving in their direction, right? If you're a great giver and they love your value, whether they wanted to or not, they have to for their own benefit to keep themselves better. And that's assuming the baseline. There's a lot of good people who love supporting people because they love to see other people succeed. Not everybody's on the same time schedule. Not everybody has the same urgency and intention. But I'll tell you one thing, when people get open field, they can really find some speed in their step. So if there's nobody in front of them and they see nothing but opportunity, wouldn't it be great to wake up and surprise yourself on the upside? Right? To think, I never thought something like this would happen to me, and I made it happen. It wasn't like it just fell into my lap, right? It's great if you hit a lotto, but if you all of a sudden turn a few things in your mind around, disassociate with certain people and reassociate with other people, and trust yourself to trust yourself after experiencing yourself, right? And bring the
I
best you. Yes?
I love this so much because if I could share a personal experience the other day, I woke up and it was like really, really early. It was too early to be getting up out of bed. And for whatever reason, I felt full of fear, right? I woke up, everything's always magnified in my mind at nighttime. Anything that's playing on my brain is always worse at
Mm-hmm.
nighttime. And I woke up and I was full of fear and I was whatever. I don't even remember what I was thinking, that what if this doesn't work out? Using what if in all the wrong way, all the negative possibilities of what if. And for whatever reason, something came over me and I slowed it all down and I paid attention to my breathing and I started thinking about all of the times in my life when things worked out. Going back way, way, way back from the time I was little, when something worked out and I felt that surge of energy and gratitude and surprise, like, oh my gosh, I surprised myself that this worked out. I'm so happy. And how energized I felt. And I kept going. And my goodness, there were just so many things that worked out for all of us. If we focus on those, they'll propel us through the day and make something else wonderful happen. We always have to be coming from a place of like expecting something wonderful to happen. It doesn't have to be the lottery win. It can be jumping on this fantastic LinkedIn Live with you. I mean, it set me up for a fantastic day. But we've all achieved success on many different levels. We just have to notice it. I love that line. In order to experience abundance, you have to notice it first. Being
Mm-hmm.
present and realizing what you have today, to your point, your health, you're alive, you're already a millionaire. You have skills, you are enough. Let's update your belief system. If that's something that's getting in your way and you're thinking you have to be all things to all people in order to please the whole world, well, let's like circle back and figure out, where did that start? And what if you could rediscover your truest version of yourself? And that would always be enough.
Oh, that's perfect. And it's just, pushing the switch the other way. I was even thinking yesterday, now that you say it, I was thinking when you're by yourself, what usually comes to mind? Your biggest disappointment and failure that you relive, or your biggest success or victory that you celebrate? So when you have time to yourself, which movies are you watching of your own? And here's the other thing: whatever you've done, whatever's been done to you by whatever or whoever, has gotten you to this point. It was the bricks that got you the foundation. Now, if you pulled any brick outside of it to make your memory better, it would have upset the whole foundation. And the other thing is, no one can do anything to you you don't allow to happen in your mind, right? No one can help what happens sometimes, but how they respond to it. And more importantly, they say it's not how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get back up, right?
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
right? And here's what I believe. What and it's not coming back. You can't unring a bell. So the key is how much time do you want to dwell on what's already over? And then what do you want to add to it? Like commentary, like judgment. And
Mm-hmm.
you discover nothing's going to change. I'm watching the same movie expecting a different ending to show up. And the key is you're doubling your loss by reliving what you didn't want to have happen. And now you keep bringing it forward, that legacy that needs to be left behind. And, the key is some people don't, like you say, aren't aware of it, don't
Mm-hmm.
know it, are aware of it, can't deal with it. What we're saying, and I believe this is universal on LinkedIn as a general rule, the best people on LinkedIn are extremely open to helping others if the help is solicited in a good way, right? If someone says, naturally, I love your stuff and I read your stuff and you inspire me or whatever, okay, to start out with, because now, okay, I understand why. If you can be so kind as to blah, 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 have a call with me, I'd be happy to, right? and I'm sure Jenny would, and so many other people, most people present it as soon as they connect. I want to sell you something, or, and
Yeah,
that's
I'm
the
like, oh,
total, like run for
yeah.
the hills, you know. But the other ones who are sincere and thoughtful, because we learn from everybody. The only way we learn is with other people. And if I can't collaborate, it's a lonely day because it's
Mhm.
just more of me, and I've got plenty of me. And I think to Jenny's point, the more you can collaborate, the more you get outside of yourself. And someone there is there, hopefully, to say, it's okay, you're okay, it's going to be okay, and I'll be there to help you, right? And that's all people need is, when they get all these dream stealers, someone says, no, I know what you're going through. I'm going through the same thing, and here's how we win. And if we can't do it by ourselves, I know we can do it together, right? And that's really the thing, is like, where are you going to quit to? Okay, so if quitting was winning, that might make sense. But if someone like leaves LinkedIn because they couldn't do it, and it's because they didn't try to change how they did it
Mhm.
or who they did it, it's like swapping parts out until it works, right? So you bring people in, some stay, some go. You bring strategies in. But here's what I suggest. I know it's a big leap. That posting, commenting, liking, it's a mob. It's hard to distinguish yourself. It's very superficial. You can only do so much with text and pictures. You can't get everybody's attention. And there's some people are doing a pretty good job, and everybody's kind of timed out. Now, if you
Mhm.
elevate to something where you just say, hey, here's who I am, here's what I believe in, here's what I want to get into, what you're doing is becoming a magnet. So now people are coming to you based on seeing you, hearing you, feeling you. They're pre qualified and they made an investment already. The other way is chasing. Oh, these are great people. Let me tag them. Let me connect with them. Let me support them. Well, that's months. And now what you've gotten is their attention. Now, great. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You're waiting for something to fall down to you and give you what you want. And it happens. But here's the thing. If it's not duplicatable, if it's not sustainable, it's not worth getting into. If it's a once in 100 time, what are you going to do tomorrow? Depend on chance. The best thing you can do, like we talked about initially, be yourself
Yeah.
and be of the most value you can from the get-go. Bring the best you. Don't bring reservation or just, well, I'll only give half because it's still more than I'm getting. It's like, what are you saving it for?
Yeah.
And if it was so good, how come you're not doing well? People are holding back on stuff that hasn't proven to be successful, but because it's theirs. And they never got into the position of sharing fairly. It's like, you give it to me first and then I'll give it to you, or make sure what you give me is at least what I give you.
Like
And all of a sudden,
that's the scarcity mindset,
yeah, and
you
that just
know?
turns everybody off. It's like, keep it all then, right? Let's say someone goes to lunch and says, you get 1.5 shrimp today for your lunch. And like, keep it for yourself. It's so valuable. You were saying, Jenny?
Yeah, I wonder if the listeners and viewers today could consider where in their life they ever noticed they could be flexible, and pivot and be creative in their thinking and start thinking about all of the different ways in which they can offer their services, that it doesn't have to be one thing. Whether it's collaboration, just think in terms of like expansive thinking when it comes to your business. Coming from a place of authenticity, this is who I am, this is my story. I'm happy to share it, all of it, because I believe in myself and I know that I'm coming from a place of truth. This is what I offer. If this resonates with you, let's connect and let's do business. It's really that simple. The rest of it, as you say, is fluff, and it's a great distraction. It's like
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the edge and not really stepping in. Well, then it's the same routine, same emotion, same result. You're on a hamster wheel of getting really nowhere, and all of those connections and followers, that's for your ego. it's great to have new followers every day is fabulous, but it doesn't really mean anything if it's not translating to something meaningful in life. If you're not adding value to somebody else's business or their, what they're believing in themselves, you've got to add value. You want to leave that person better than when you found them. So I say give more, give it all.
Yeah, that's so true, because you don't know how much it takes to give until it's gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you got to stack more on top of more to get to where you need to go, then that's what you have to do. And I think the real element here is getting help from other people. It's easy for someone to say, do this and you get this. It's easy to tell someone who needs to lose some weight, just stop eating so much food, right? And they know that. But
Doesn't
that's not
change the neurology though, and there's no action steps there. Yeah.
And it doesn't bring up self-esteem.
No.
It doesn't bring up confidence. And here's what I believe, again, linked in life, is get with someone and do one with someone who's already doing one. Ease into it. Get comfortable, because here's what you'll find. You may enjoy this so much that it changes your view on yourself, because now you're doing something very few people are doing. Mm-hmm. You're doing it better every day. You can't look at where you start. When people used to come to work for me, they say, well, I hate starting at the bottom. I said, well, you're only here as long as you want to be. Start climbing. No one, you might start here, but that's up to you to get out of there. Right. And I said, it's always not how much you make, it's who you become.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, money comes, money goes. And as you get older, you get pretty much everything you needed or wanted. And it's all about people. Here's one thing. I know it's all about perspective. But when I say goodbye to people, I say goodbye as if I'm never going to see them again.
Oh, no, that makes me sad.
Yeah, but when I say hello to them, I say hello to them like I never was going to see them again.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm grateful and then appreciative, and focus really on their future. Mm-hmm. There was an interesting story, a mythological story, and I'll share it real quick. Is in the old days, when a parent would be ready to die, the oldest son would take the person on their shoulders and walk them up to the mountain and put them in a cave and give them water and food and say goodbye. So the son was taking his mother up, and they were talking along the way, and all of a sudden he hears all these twigs breaking. And he doesn't think much of it. He keeps walking, keeps hearing these twigs. And he said, Mother, what are you breaking the twigs for? And she says, well, to find a way home. And he says, you're not going home. And she says, I know, but you are. Right? And to the end, she was still hoping he wouldn't get lost. So it's those kind of inspirational stories you hear that put you in that position that it's so true. It's just, it's not now. But why not act before you have to and feel the value that one can derive from being like that? And if you can infuse yourself with enough of those stories, mm-hmm. that whole thing is, it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get back up. They help you get back up.
Yeah, and let's give one another a soft place to land, right? Let's be supportive enough and encouraging enough to say, try something new. There are so many people I follow on LinkedIn that add so much value every day, like multiple times a day, encouraging, nudging you out of your comfort zone. Give it a try. What have you got to lose? And if you're coming from a place of, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. Yesterday didn't really work out, but today is a fresh day. And I'm just going to try something new. And if it doesn't work, I have a safe and a soft place to land here. And I'm encouraged enough to try again tomorrow.
Well,
I love
go ahead.
That story was so beautiful. It made me think about my own kids. And that's the thing. We're all just walking one another home, right?
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we're walking one another home.
And if you keep it in context, it's just, I always found the richest homes in the neighborhood was always where the most love and laughter were.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It had nothing to do with cars or garages. It was just where is everybody having fun with each other? Where is people waiting to be with each other? And like Jenny says, if you meet a few and maybe a couple more than a few quality friends, collaborators on LinkedIn, the rest of the world goes away. I know
Mhm.
I met Jenny through Tara Gooch, and through other people, I've met other people, and I've got such a select group of quality people that all the naysayers out there and scammers and distractors don't even enter, right? Because we pulled away into the lifeboat, from the sinking cruise ship over there. And
Mhm.
we're glad to save each other, but more importantly, root each other on, because once you're on the right path, everything becomes fun.
Oh,
Once winning
absolutely.
shows up, fear goes away.
Yeah, we want to be the energy that we want to attract. It's that
Yeah.
simple. And when you show up as yourself with your energy and your vibe and your beliefs and your truth, more people that want to know you and work with you and be part of your network and part of your friend group, they'll gravitate towards you naturally because they have the same energy or the same, their thoughts and feelings are in alignment with yours. And then together we rise. I say that all the time.
Well, it's so true. And, at the end of the day, what we're providing each other is nourishment,
Mhm.
and if we can nourish each other's confidence and attitude, because success is merely an attitude. There's people who have failed hundreds of times. They say the definition of, I think, success or confidence is a person who continues to fail over and over again, but never loses their enthusiasm,
Oh,
you
gosh,
know?
that's so true. If you look, so that's the other big thing is that I would love to invite people to stop doing on here is comparing themselves to other people who they think are doing better or are having more success, because that's a measurement as well. And comparison is truly the thief of joy.
Oh, that's so profound.
But so many people don't actually share what it took for them to get to where they are, and there is value in that. So I invite people to trade judgment for curiosity and invite them to connect with people who are, in a position of whatever they think success looks like and learn from them. Don't be afraid to reach out and say, how did you do this?
Hmm.
How can I learn from you? How can I level up? How can I bring someone else along for this ride? How can we stretch and grow together? Because you're bound to find out if you ask, what would you have done differently? If you could have a redo in your life, what might you have done differently? Which is much gentler than saying, I should
Hmm.
have done this or I could have done that. That gentle approach is so valuable. And when we can have a redo and we can share, this is maybe a better way. This is something I could have done differently. It would have caused less upset or pain, or it would have not gotten in the way of proper progress. Then that person asking the question has some insight. Oh, maybe I'll try it that way. Maybe that will be easier. And then they continue to share, you know? So I say, don't compare yourself to other people because you don't always know the backstory.
Well,
The difference between you and whoever you're thinking is really successful is that they have a belief that they can do it and you don't. So let's update your belief system so that you can actually step into that and decide, make a decision. What am I
hmm
going to do today that's different? What do I know to be true about myself? I have won in the past. I can win again. How can I make this happen today? We're
yeah,
driving, we're all driving the bus that is our life. We're not the victim unless we choose to be the victim. That's
well,
disempowering.
and I think everybody's got to remember you got to start where you are with what you have and start moving forward. Don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait for someone to make it happen. Be your own survivor,
Mhm.
your own advocate, and enjoy the ride. I
Mhm.
mean, have fun. There's so many beautiful things in this world that people walk by every day and forget to take pay attention to, whether it's the sky, whether it's the flowers, whether it's beautiful cars, whatever it is that gets them excited. And they're so full of themselves and their fears and the things that aren't working. And, I think that a lot of people, there's a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, and it's the same thing in life. A lot of ways, everybody wants to gain, but they don't want to put in the time, the effort, the
Mm.
work, the trust. So everything comes inside
Mhm.
ultimately and then should go outside. And, by reinventing yourself, refiguring yourself, if you were a race car and you were building one out of clay, you'd keep modeling before you put it on the track. And
Yeah.
I think in LinkedIn, it gives you that chance. But I think we shared a tremendous amount today. We could talk forever, and that's good because we've got a lot to say and we feel it has value and we're happy people. So I think that you can add that to the list that you can check next to both of our boxes, and that our intent is always for good,
Mhm.
and that's all one can do is have a positive intent, interest in helping others, and open to continue to collaborate and support each other. I'm on call. It's like if someone needs help on LinkedIn, if someone wants to share something, to me, everybody's equal. And the beauty of LinkedIn, and it is an equal opportunity more so than other situations, is it's all, what are you thinking today? What do you know today you can share? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how old you are, it doesn't matter where you've been. It's what have you accumulated today that you can bring to the market, and know that if people can either listen, get inspired, motivated, but more importantly, apply it. There's so many people are so smart and do so little. Give up a little intelligence for a little activity and you'll get more balance. And plus, you don't want it to just build up inside. There, there,
Mhm.
there's healthiness to expression, to projection, to opening. Scarcity goes away when abundance shows up. So, anyways, with that said, I want to thank everybody for showing up. Hopefully, we brought value. Feel free to share this with others, and sharing is caring. And in conclusion, Jenny, what would you like to say to close it all together?
That I'm just so grateful that I got to start my day with you, Don. It's been a joy, and I'm going to head out the door now for a walk with my dogs and notice everything around me and choose happy.
Well, I'm so happy because, first of all, I started happy. Knowing now that you're happier makes me happier. And hopefully, all this happiness continues to just fly through LinkedIn, and we create a movement of
There,
success and joy. And we'd love to hear your stories. So feel free to reach out to either one of us on LinkedIn and connect and message us. We'd love to respond. So with that said, Jenny, have a wonderful walk with the dogs. And next time we'll talk, you have to tell me how all the flowers were.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much, Don. Have a great day.
You too. Appreciate it.